So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi villains, welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. Both Neil and Paddy, and you can see Paddy is in our Derry, your London Derry, depending on where you are in the world, studios today. Paddy's actually on holidays, and look, with all the great stuff that I won't say great stuff, Jesus, what am I like? But with all the madness that's been going on with Twitter and with transfers over the last 24, 36 hours, you know, Paddy, this tell you how dedicated Paddy is to the podcast. He brought the laptop and he brought the microphone with him on holidays. But so, look, there you go. It's right. But Paddy's been an absolutely mental 36 hours. I have been. Not only was I I thought it was the delirium from. I got a few aches and pains and I was feeling wrecked after getting my second dose of the vaccine. Thankfully, it's all passed and I am now ready to take on the world. I get over to Villa Park, but I thought it was the delirium of the vaccine when I read on my phone yesterday that Jack Grealish bid of 100 million in for Jack Grealish, and then all of a sudden, everything just went completely haywire on Twitter. And then obviously we had the game today, and we're going to talk about all that. And then after the game today, it breaks that Leon Bailey is now on his way to Aston Villa. It looks pending a medical, and we're going to talk about all of that today in this podcast. But let's start with some non-transfer related news, I think, firstly, and let's talk about that game today that we played. Aston Villa actually played in a number of games today, but the first one we're going to talk about is Aston Villa 3, Bristol City 0, played in Ashton Gate. Today Aston Villa took a mixed bag team, Paddy. I think that's what we call it, a mixed bag of a team to Ashton Gate today, and they came away 3-0 victors. I suppose, first of all, the team, people like Steer is still in goals. Obviously, we're waiting for Martinez to come back. Konza and House were there. Ashley Young was excellent at left back again. It's going to be a real tussle between himself and Target. I can see Target absolutely busting a nut for 60 minutes and Ashley Young coming on for the last 25-30 minutes in games, and I'm excited. Played really well. Cash was there.
Especially we have to chase. I think we might see that kind of combination. But anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we might see that too.
Yeah.
Aaron Ramsey Jacob Ramsey was there. There was Nakamba, Ollie Watkins, Jacob Philogene Bides, who was for me the star of the show today, along with Ollie Watkins was the star of the show. He was just immensely brilliant. I thought he was excellent, as was McGinn. But Philogene Bides really kind of came of age, but he kind of started looking like a grown-up player today. And I think that's probably the best place to start, because he had a really nifty finish for the first goal, Paddy. Talk us through that. Do you remember what the first goal was like?
Well, I did. I'm not going to say that I saw the game. I didn't. I saw the highlights. I'm on my holidays, so we did a bit of family traveling around. So saw the highlights. Great ball in from the left. Not actually sure who put the ball in, but what looked like
Watkins.
a finish. Watkins from the outside of the right foot. Very neat finish and great start to the game. As you said, there was a lot going on today. There was 3 games. There was one in Stafford Rangers. There was one in Bodymore. And then we had the one in Bristol City. So it was hard to tell which one was the game of the day. But that was the one that was broadcast. So that's the one we can comment on. But apologies to all the listeners that as dedicated I am to be here tonight, I didn't see the game today, but I will watch it back on the pack that I bought from AVTV, but I'll watch it over the next few days.
It's and Joe, we're going to segue or just move off that for a small bit, tangentially move on towards AVTV. I'm really impressed with what they have this season. I would have been, before I did the podcast, I would have been absolutely spitting fire over some of the things it's the lack of production value, borderline professionalism. I'm not talking ill about the club, but it was just poorly put together for at times. And for us guys who are abroad and maybe rely on stuff like that for youth games and the little snippets and bits and pieces, wow, they've really got their acting gear this year. I think it's unbelievable. I had no hesitation paying the €40, I think is what it was over here, 34.99 in the UK, and I must say it's been absolutely excellent so far. You get to watch all the games back, and we're not selling it here, we've nothing to sell it, but it's
absolutely not. Yeah, but it is great. What I was most impressed was the offering was that after if you were to miss any game, you could rewatch it, and
yes,
that includes the Premier League games. So I don't envisage I'd miss too many games because obviously you want to watch them, but there will be days like today where real life takes over and you get to watch them at a later stage. So that day will come, but for the sake of €34.99 or €40, whatever it is, I thought it was very worth it. And money goes to the club, sir. It's a win-win situation.
Absolutely. And absolutely, it's fantastic. But anyway, getting back to the game, as I say, Villa won 3-0. First goal was Philogene Bedes, who was really, really, he was really kind of threatening. He looked like he could play at championship level. Bristol City looked like they're going to struggle. They had very few ideas. We looked a bit ponderous at back at times, but we could always just pop it up another gear. We got the second goal in very fortuitous circumstances. McGinn crossed in a lovely ball. It was actually a nice free kick, but the goalkeeper made an absolute balls of it and just dropped Ezri Kondu, just tapped it into the back of the net. And then the third goal was some really lovely work. Somebody who's working well, I think, working better and looking fitter and looking more like a two-way player is Anwar El Ghazi, I think, in preseason. And look, I know it's preseason and everybody is full of the beans of life, seeking you do it after maybe being kicked up and down the field against Burnley, and then you have to come on the next day and then you have to try and unlock a defense. But he was really good tonight, El Ghazi, and he got to the byline and put in a lovely cross. And when I saw the goal, the third goal from Ollie Watkins, the diving header, it looked like a goal from FIFA. He was just standing there on his own, and he just like the diving header, he was like a missile, and it's just a really good goal. It was just I boring game, but very entertaining in parts. I thought that's how I'd sum up the game today.
Yeah, great finish. The kind of people of my ilk and my generation love an old diving header. But fair play to Anwar warming up for his move to Roma coming up in the next couple of weeks. But there you go. Just my opinion. He's going with John Terry to Roma with Jose, so it'll be interesting.
Everyone is saying that. Everyone is, like, I've seen it a couple of times about Anwar El Ghazi to Roma, but it's if it happens, they better stump up and pay for him, because what is it, 10 Premier League goals? That costs money, regardless of whether we think he's a finished article or not. That costs money.
Yeah, 15 million apparently, but we'll see.
We'll see. We'll take anything that goes. But you mentioned as well that there was also another game in Bodymore today. Aston Villa Select 11, I think we'll call it, played against Crewe in Bodymore Heath today. Don't know much more on it other than Wesley got some game time. Louis Barry got the only goal in a 1-0 win. But there was some concerns out of it that in the warm-up, I think it was, Emi Buendia took a knock and didn't actually suit up today, didn't play. So, look, it's probably just precautionary. Actually, everything points to the fact that it is precautionary. Yeah, but, I suppose this is their way of compensating for the fact that the Newcastle match, or the Notts Forest match, was cancelled during the week. They said, do you know what we'll do? We'll take two squads, one to Crewe, or one to Bodymore, one to Ashton Gate, and we'll just play them for 90 minutes essentially, and just have three subs in the bench, old school style. We're talking 1982 European Cup style. Only three subs in the bench, and one of them's a goalkeeper. That's the way it was in Ashton Gate today. And actually, on that game in Ashton Gate, the two boys did get a run in, Hayden Lindley and Brad Young. In the last few minutes, they did get a run, so it is nice to see them get some game time too, along with the guys back in Bodymore.
Yeah, well, I know somebody had messaged us early today concerned about the build-up and how many games we had and the quality of the opposition, but this is all about ramping up to next weekend. I think when we play Seville next weekend, or Sevilla, whatever we're going to call them, we will see probably our strongest and Dean Smith's first choice 11 take to the field that day, and then we can judge from there on in. But I think today was a worthwhile exercise. what, 14, 15 players gone to 3 different games. More or less the under-23s went to Stafford Rangers.
Yeah.
And behind closed doors at Bodymore Heath, and then the bulk going to Bristol City. So important to get 90 minutes under the belt. It probably won't be the last 90 minutes. I'm sure something will happen behind the scenes, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, that we won't hear about. But the most important thing is that they're getting full games under their belt. I'm sure they will want our returning players, the first of which being Jack and Tyrone, to arrive on Monday and get their shoulder behind the wheel and get a game under their belt. So that will probably happen. If not, we'll probably see Jack and Tyrone next Saturday. I fully believe that will be the case.
Yeah.
Emmy Martin,
Emmy
be back this week as well. So barring Douglas Luiz, we've got a full first choice to pick from in midweek, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, it's something, I suppose, that the strength and conditioning squads and strength and conditioning teams, should I say, will be working towards over the next week or so. And look, hopefully, if we get any bonus games on AVTV, well, then we've just been singing their praises. I'll definitely watch them and watch them with glee if they do come down. But I am looking forward to the Sevilla game next weekend as well, and hopefully we go out and we give them a good rattle prior to starting the Premier League season for ourselves as well. So that's really to do all our match reports for today. As I say, it's hard to get too excited about it because, as I say, they were very processional, an awful lot of them. They were fitness outings. We don't know anything about the one in Bodymore. I presume it was behind closed doors in case Wesley went on the warpath and started kicking the shit out of people again. But so and definitely don't know anything about the under-23s against Staffordshire Rangers. If anybody has any info on that, please reach out to us, give us a shout on Twitter and let us know, because we'd be very, very interested. But I suppose after the game today, Paddy, the news broke almost directly after the game that Aston Villa had reached a transfer agreement with Bayern Leverkusen for Leon Bailey. And let's talk about that now.
Okay. Well, what was my overriding emotion today? I had just walked along the beach in cold, dampish kind of weather, just about to get back into the car, and the ping came on my phone. So me and Stephen had a big hug that we were going in the right place after 24 hours, let's say, of people stirring the shit on social media and in the news media, because there's obviously nothing to report, and we get to that in a while. But I think this is a huge statement of intent for our club. As I said in a previous podcast, this guy is a hot prospect throughout Europe. A good coaching mate of mine who lives in Holland, who's from Holland, who lives in Germany, reckons this guy is the future. 60, 70, 80 million in the future this guy will go for. So he reckons, having signed him today, we've got a huge talent on our hands, big prospects, and Jesus, long may this kind of trend continue. Because behind the scenes, we haven't mentioned it. We mentioned it as it happens when we're online, but we're buying the hottest prospects of British football, of Irish football, or wherever they're coming from other academies. And this one, I think, was a major statement of intent and a huge relief, because you're asking yourself, are we relying on Jack signing a new contract for this fella to sign? But now it's just down to the medical, it's just down to agreeing personal terms. And you can be sure that the agent has been involved in the negotiations before now, otherwise we would not be announcing it. So as far as I'm concerned, barring Leon Bailey picking up an injury while on international duty with Jamaica, we've nothing to worry about here.
Yeah, I've spoken quite a lot about Leon Bailey previously. We have a focus video on him as well, and a focus podcast on him too, statistical focus podcast on him. I think he's going to be really good, and I think, to be honest with you, moving to Aston Villa, moving to the Premier League where he wants to move. I mentioned in that podcast as well that he had enlisted the help of Eddie Shaw, the guy who had gotten Raheem Sterling his move from Liverpool to Man City. Yeah, hopefully he ditches him now, because we don't want Leon Bailey kind of up in sticks in 2 years' time to move to Man City as well. We've had enough of potentially have enough of that already in our play. But no, he's coming to the Premier League. But I think that you mentioned a piece there, Paddy, where you said that, is this consequent of him coming in to sign based on whether Jack stays or not? I think it's a win-win for Leon Bailey. I think he sees it as that. He gets to showcase his talents in the Premier League. He gets to play in a position he's familiar with on the left. Because I think if he comes here and plays for Aston Villa, that's where he's going to play, regardless of whether Jack stays. Jack gets moved into the centre, and we play with that number 10. That's what I think will happen if Leon Bailey so signing Jack stays. If Jack stays, he gets to play with him and he gets to heighten his talents. If Jack goes, he becomes one of the main men in our attack. It's an absolute win-win for Leon Bailey, and he should be salivating and licking his lips at the idea of being able to get those fancy feet and that really fast touch, that fast twitch athleticism he has into the Premier League to try and showcase his talent. So I'm really there for this. I'm going to be really looking forward to seeing it. I hope we get to see him for 10-15 minutes against Seville at the weekend, maybe even a little more. Maybe we get to see him for 40 minutes. He's been away in the World Cup.
I think he'll be involved once everything goes to plan over the next couple of days. I think he'll be highly involved next weekend, so that the management and the coaches can see where he's at. This is a huge deal. I'm looking at people losing their shit for the last 24 hours. I celebrated today when I heard this news because...
Oh, absolutely, so did I.
This is a statement of intent. Without a shadow of a doubt, this is a statement of intent. Regardless of what happens in the future and regardless of what way you're thinking, this is a huge signing for our club. And embrace it, enjoy it. Put his name in your shirt, we got to do that. This guy is going to be a star. And, everything we've seen... I encourage people to go back and look at the video you did on him, as you previously mentioned, because everybody wanted this guy, and we've got him. And we'll get to it later on, but I think this guy is going to really complement Jack Grealish. And spoiler alert, they'll be playing together. If not just next weekend, they'll be playing together.
Just before we leave Leon Bailey and we go on to talk about a bit about Jack Grealish, as I'm terming it, the transfer we dare not mention. I think this club needs this name recognition, specifically on the continent. I think they need somebody like this. Call it, if you want, the hipster footballer. The guy that comes in that, I watched the Bundesliga. I watched all of Leverkusen's games last year in the Bundesliga. Like, sometimes I come on here and I say, I like to watch other football. I'll watch it if it's on. If we're linked with somebody, I'll crack open my database and on a scouting platform that I will not mention. Just due to the fact that they want to sponsor us, I'll fucking mention it. But until they do, I won't. I'll crack open that. I'll take a look at stuff. I'll take a look at my 5 games, as I always do. But I don't sit down and religiously watch the Bundesliga week in, week out. I'll watch it if it's on. But this is a hipster-type football transfer. He's very good. Bayern Munich were interested in him. Ironically enough, this time last year when Sané moved, Man City were actually interested in him. Man United have been linked with him. Liverpool were linked with him earlier on this season. Yeah. He's got the juice, to play in quote-unquote top teams, if you want to call them that or whatever. But he's coming to Aston Villa, and it's name recognition, it's brand recognition, it's continental recognition. And once again, this has been something that I've been saying that Everton have been doing, West Ham have been doing of recent. They've been buying good players. Like when West Ham signed Felipe Anderson, yes, it didn't work out for him when he came from Lazio and moved to the Premier League. That was name recognition within the Italian league. Like, that was a big transfer. That was a huge transfer for West Ham. When Everton signed James Rodriguez, yes, that was probably a global one, but Everton have also signed players like what's your man's name, Andre Gomez. All this is continental name recognition. Jack Grealish, and we'll talk about this again in a moment. It feels like we've actually already probably said what we need to say about the transfer that should have mentioned. We fucking mentioned it more than we've mentioned any other transfer.
The bigger issue is this is flying under the radar.
Yes, which is good.
And people are just concentrating on something else. But this is a big deal. This is a huge deal for our club. We've probably broken our transfer record, have we?
No, he isn't. Well, from what it's, I think it's 30 million plus add-ons, but it doesn't come. I've not seen anyone say that it's going to break the Buendia transfer. And let's not forget, lads. Let's not forget. We've broken our bloody transfer record twice. Well, we've spent over 30 million twice this summer. That's great going. That's good going. And this is not us trying to polish up a third and say that this is putting a positive spin on things. Take these in a vacuum, the Amy Buendia transfer previously and the Leon Bailey transfer. We, as things stand, we are measurably better than we were last year. As things stand, based on something might change next week, but as things stand, we are immeasurably better. And I think, Paddy, look, we're farting around this whole transfer that should not be mentioned. So let's move on to this, and give me one moment there while I just bring this up. So the transfer that should not be mentioned, Paddy, talk to me on it. I know that. Look, I actually haven't spoken to you much about this since you've gone away and since this broke. I'm good. Look, uncensored, unadulterated. Give me exactly what you feel, and just for the record, myself and Paddy, I think, might even have different views on this. I don't know, because I don't know what Paddy thinks. But go for it, Paddy. Tell me how you feel on it.
Okay, so
children out of the room, Paddy. Is that what we'll ask?
No. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. People are losing their shit, right? And understandably, because it's been reported that we're losing our prized assets, and there's a lot going on with this transfer, and mainly because we were told apparently that there wasn't a release clause, so we don't know whether they've met the release clause or they've met what we've asked for. Right. We don't know for a start whether there's been any offer, and the reason I go back to that is all the people who are reporting that Jack Grealish is gone, it's down to the player, all this kind of stuff, did the exact same thing at the same time last year, and Man United had bought him. And did Man United buy him? Did they fuck? Will they ever? No. Will Man City ever? I don't think so. I'm not going the full thing saying it's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. If it's going to happen, we have one more year with Jack Grealish. I am fairly sure that that's going to be the case. It's not going to happen this summer. If it happens, I'll put my hands up and say, yes, okay, I was wrong. But for now, I don't believe that this is going to happen this summer. You put yourself in the situation. Me and you are fans. Everybody listening to this is fans, with the exception of our token Spurs fan and Liverpool fan who watches. And, you put yourself in Jack's position. Okay, this guy is the captain of our club. He's our leader. He has been through the absolute shit with this club. He's followed this club through thick and thin since whatever, 4 or 5 years of age. And all of a sudden, here we are on the verge of something extraordinary. And I mean extraordinary, and I don't say that lightly. This is a group of players that's more than capable of taking us into the Champions League. And I believe that. I truly, truly, truly believe we might be a couple of players short. They might come in before the transfer window ends. We do need to sign a centre half. We probably need a centre midfielder. But this group of players is so, so close to being the best Villa squad since 1982. That's how big this is. Jack Grealish, a Villa fan, has this extraordinary opportunity to be the captain, the leader, the talisman, everything of this club. Absolutely everything. The pivotal thing that makes this club work is Jack Grealish. I will ask you the question, as a fan, which Jack Grealish is, do you walk away from that? I don't think so.
I haven't yet. And I've seen this, and since I've 11 years in Jack Grealish, I've seen us play worse than Jack Grealish has. So no, but that's like, Paddy. I actually I think, and one of our listeners will probably tell us, that could be the longest I've ever shut up in a podcast. That might be the longest that I've ever not interrupted you or spoken over you in a podcast. And the reason being, Paddy, is because I believe you. I like, as I said, genuinely, and I hand on heart that we haven't spoken about this on WhatsApp, or we haven't been on the phone or anything about it. And I was genuinely interested in what you'd say. And the amount of positivity you came up with there about, and look, I know some people are shouting at their radio or shouting at their phone now, going, "Oh my God, looks that's your feelings over the facts, and the facts are there in the paper or whatever." And that's fine. That's cool if that's what you believe. But I actually got a nice feeling. You've convinced me to be a small bit more on the listen. I think we won't know until Jack comes back here, and I think maybe people are putting the cart before the horse here with regards to this transfer. And I think that, like myself, I don't think the fat lady has sung on this yet. I think that this Leon Bailey signing is an opportunity, as I said, to show Jack. Listen, Jack, want to move into the centre? Do you want to be a big boy? Do you want to move into the centre and be the Mason Mount of our team? You know, the way they talk about Mason Mount gets into the English team because he plays in the more central role. You didn't get into that central role. Do you want to play there? You're not going to play for City. You know, you won't be in that role for City. Do you want to do that with us? And you know what we'll do? We'll put a £30 million Jamaican international who had his best season in the Bundesliga and runs like hell on the other side of you, and see how you get on. Let's say we get in a James Ward-Prowse. I know we've spoken about being on the fence, maybe whether we think James Ward-Prowse will fit in here. I think on this side of things, and I know 40 million or whatever it is to be quoted for James Ward-Prowse would be a hell of a lot of money to pay for somebody who's just really good at frees. But could you imagine? Look, Jack, you come in, you just do what you do. Now we've got someone who can stick him in the back of the net. We've got Ashley Young, and we've got James Ward-Prowse to, take a mean free kick. You may.
But I just, before you go on, I'll go back to all of the people that let us down in the past. The likes of Ashley Young previously, Dwight York, all of these players that us as fans have a little bit of a grievance for what they've done. None of them have been Villa fans. None of them. Absolutely none of them. That changes everything for me. Absolutely everything. Because regardless of whether you've lost your shit on Twitter over the last 24 hours, or you're sitting on the fence, or you don't believe this is going to happen, most of us are just praying that it doesn't happen. But
I think so, yeah. I think all of us. I think that's the commonality of everything, Paddy. I think nobody wants Jack Grealish sold.
No, absolutely not. And if you put everything I've said in the last, whatever it is, 4 or 5 minutes into perspective, there's so much on offer for a fan to lead us into this situation, which, well, let's be honest, it could go tits up. It's not a given, but it is a huge opportunity for a fan. You look, they put the jerseys on sale yesterday, and the 4 boys turned into Villa Park. Tony Morley, Gary Shaw, forgotten who the other 2 were. Gordon Cowans and Des Bremner, maybe, I'm not sure, but people turned out in their numbers to come and buy a shirt. Can you imagine? We're looking at 40 years down the line, and there's Jack Grealish with his long grey hair sitting in the Villa shop, because that's the way he's going to be for the rest of his life. This guy has the potential to be the greatest. I said it on this podcast before. If he signs on, if he buys into this project, he will be greater than Paul McGrath. I truly believe he will be greater than Paul McGrath. This will be the For Love of Jack Grealish podcast maybe in 10 years. Without me and you, and somebody else takes over the mantle or whatever. But that's the way I see Jack Grealish and his future being. And his future, in my opinion, is at Aston Villa and not at Manchester City. And I think he would find it very, very hard to go and sit in the rotation process that Man City is. On the bench, miss out on the big games, possibly not play against Villa, and play a couple of Champions League games, not play the 6 games. And you could see, like we all know Jack Grealish so well, you could see how hard it was for him during the European Championships. And that's just how it will be at Manchester City. So for me, I'm not worried. I'm genuinely not worried this is going to happen. I deal in facts. The fact we got today was Leon Bailey is signing for Aston Villa, subject to personal terms and a medical. For me, that's a given. Listening to 10, 12, 15 types of journalists the same journalist that told us he was going to Manchester United last year. Egg on their faces. So what are they doing now? They're regurgitating the story on a slow news day in the hope that it would happen. It's an easy story to break because realistically, if he is to go, there's only two clubs that can afford him, and that's probably PSG and Manchester City.
Yeah.
But I don't think Manchester City are finished with their financial fair play woes either.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Can they afford to go and spend 100 million on Jack Grealish, who realistically is not their missing link? Their missing link is a striker.
Harry
so
Kane.
Regardless of what they do with Jack Grealish, they still need to sign Harry Kane or the likes to fill in that gap that Sergio Aguero has left. Mm-hmm. So for me, I'm not that worried. And I genuinely mean that. I've texted so many people have messaged me over the last 24 hours. I mean that. I'm genuinely not worried. If it comes to case on Tuesday or Wednesday where we have decided that, it's too good to turn down, yeah, okay, I'm fine with that. But right now, talking to you, I'm not worried.
That's what I was going to say. Is when does the sparkle for us being Villa fans and the sparkle for Jack being Villa fans? When does that become the business of football?
Football, when I think we would probably all agree that the owners have probably lost a bit of faith. Now that could come for a number of reasons. Has Jack had a word with them and went, you know what, this is too good of an opportunity. I'm going to play Champions League football. I'm probably going to win a Premier League medal. And if that's the case, and Jack Grealish says that, I'm going to go fine. But for all the reasons...
I thought you were going to say something else. I got to go fine. I thought you were going to say something else.
But for all of the reasons I've said previously, I don't believe that will be the case.
Yeah.
I don't think any amount of money will take Jack away from us, because I believe what's going to happen on Monday is if there is any bid, and we'll never know if there's any bid unless he actually moves. So he'll arrive back in on Monday, he'll do his whatever. The owners will obviously say to Dean, we have this bid, blah, blah, blah. Where do we go from here? And my opinion on that would be, Jack, go and talk to Man City, see what they're offering. So Jack will talk to Man City, and he'll say they're giving me 200,000 a week, and the owners will go, fine, we'll do the same. Now it's up to you, Jack. Ball in your court. You can go there. You can go there.
We'll put in. Go on.
You can go there. You can take your money. You'll get a couple of medals, whatever the case may be. But are those medals worth missing out on being the center of what the club that you've loved since you were whatever 2 or 3 years of age, being potentially at the top of that pile or pushing for the top of that pile? I think that's a very difficult decision for him to make. And I think if our owners, which they have done with Giannis in the Milwaukee Bucks, done exactly the same thing, they built the team around him, they've done everything he has asked of them, I think it's time to do everything Jack has asked of them and push the boat out and make this work.
Do you know what? That's an impassioned plea, and I can't really add any more to that other than to say that if Jack Grealish signs a new contract, I will do the next live stream in my boxer shorts. Because I couldn't give a shite. As you guys know, I have no problem humiliating myself, and I would be the happiest person this side of the Irish Sea if Jack Grealish signs a new contract. It would be the best thing ever, because I genuinely would be I'd be going through a wall for the first game of the season. I'm now doubly vaccinated. So are you, Paddy. Things are beginning to open up. I'll tell you, the Irish system. I have my vaccination yesterday. I got my travel pass, the EU travel pass at 2:15 a.m. this morning. So I am now ready to travel. That's the way I am at the moment. But, so I'm very, very happy about that. But I'd swim across the Irish Sea to see Jack Grealish line up alongside Leon Bailey, Emi Buendia behind Ali Watkins, and go out and give Watford an absolute hammer.
What we're assembling here is incredible.
Potentially, there is a caveat in it. I know, we do have to say there's a caveat, but if everything goes to plan and Jack Grealish signs, like, genuinely scary good.
But I think the rest of the Premier League are going to start looking over their shoulders. We're the big club here, and people don't realise we're a big club. I've said this for the last 2 years. People are going, "Oh, Jack Grealish is gone." I was going, "Well, we don't need to sell him," and we don't.
Yeah.
I think the conversation will come if what they've told us is true, and I believe Christian Purslow has said there's no release clause in Jack Grealish's contract. I'm open to somebody telling me I'm wrong, but I believe that that's the case.
I can only go on what Purslow says. Yeah. Anything else is hearsay, really. And that's not to say that we dislike anyone saying it or that anybody's a crackpot for saying it. We just haven't heard it from the club. So I suppose based on that,
so
we can make deductions, all right, but we can't say anything for certain.
Yeah. So there's no question to answer at the moment, because I genuinely find it really hard to figure out how Man City are going to replace Sergio Aguero and sign Jack Grealish. So it's either one or the other. Is he going to be like Spain and play without any strikers or any notable strikers? I don't know. I don't know what's going on in his head if that's his game. But you do need someone to put the ball in the net. And Man City, in my view, don't need Jack Grealish anywhere near as much as they need a striker. So what's to worry about for me at the moment? It's not coming between me and my sleep. I'm honestly not worried in the slightest right now. Fast forward to Tuesday or Wednesday, if the club come back and say, out of courtesy to Jack Grealish, we've allowed him to speak to Manchester City, I would have nothing but respect for Jack Grealish, and I'll say, go and flourish, win your medals, do whatever. But I truly do not believe, as a fan, that he's going to walk away from the project that's there at the moment.
I think we'll leave it on that, Paddy, because that's a nice positive thing to leave it. We'll be back with any developments, any breaking news on it as well. We will chat to you on it. Look, I think anybody who's got Carlton Blue running through their veins, anybody who's a Villa fan, no one wants Jack Grealish to go. He may go, but nobody wants him to go. If he does go, we'll deal with it then. As Paddy says there, he doesn't think the fat lady has sung on this transfer yet. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. None of us know. We're only going based on reports. Jack Grealish is back in the country.
One thing I do know is everybody was saying that Jack has had conversations. He's met Manchester City. Jack arrived back in the UK today. All of this shit broke yesterday, as far as I'm concerned. It's shit, because it holds nothing for me until there's official statements from somebody, and to this day there's no official state. You've got people like Jim White peddling this crap for so long. He rode back in the middle of it going, no, sorry, Jack's not going to happen. He's going to sign for his boyhood club. And now he's on the back of it again going, oh yes, Jack is signed for Manchester City. They're making it up as they go along. Eventually, they're hoping that one of these will stick. For me, it's not sticking. It's not sticking. Our man, this team has been built around our man, and I'm sticking by our man until I hear otherwise, because it's completely different when you're talking about a fan. We've sold so many players, Benteke, Dwight York, over the years. They've just broken our hearts, absolutely broken our hearts. We don't need to sell him. It's completely at his request now whether he goes or not. And as a fan, I just can't see it. And that's the bottom line.
Well, I hope you're right. Listen, thanks everybody for everything you do for the podcast. I think we're going to leave it there. I completely forgot to mention at the very start of the podcast, thank you everybody. We reached 1,000 subs on YouTube. It was just a complete vanity project for myself and Paddy, but we're absolutely delighted. You know what? Now we're looking to reach 2,000. Why not? But thanks so much to everybody. We've had so much, like, everybody. I can't believe how many people were happy to see us reach 1,000 subs. That's actually heartwarming, and we really appreciate it. You know, and now that you guys are reaching out by DM, and you're reaching out, you know, on Twitter just to chat. That's what we're here for. You know, I'm not in the business of trying to fight with anybody on Twitter. I just want to hear what everybody has to say, and if your opinion differs to mine, so be it. You know, it's not going to hurt anyone at the end of the day. And that should be the beauty about being a football fan, especially when everybody that I'm talking to on Twitter is the fan of the exact same club. So remember that Aston Villa is a very special place. Hopefully we have a very special player playing with this very special club after next week and into this season. So thanks so much for everything that everybody has done for this podcast. Thanks very much, Paddy, for taking time out of your holiday. You can catch Paddy on @Villa Paddy. You can catch me on @LoveMcGrathPod. Please like, subscribe, and share the podcast on whatever platform you listen to it, whether it be on the actual audio version or on the video version. Really appreciate that, and really thank you for everything you've done. Listen, it's going to be a massive week in the history of Aston Villa Football Club this week, whether it's going to be incomings on top of incomings or whether it's going to be a notable outcoming. But look, one thing's for sure, me and Paddy will still be here, and every single one of you guys that are listening will still go to Villa Park at some stage, and that's really the essence of everything. So until next week, guys, all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.